All right, everybody. I know it's been a few days that I haven't been on, but guess what? I am back. Lots going on. That's the reason why I've been out. But you know what? Today I got the Bruce Lee of real estate. He's here today. There he is. And by the way, and I'm not talking just because, he's Asian. That's not why. It's because this guy, man, you should see him in action. This guy, ooh, martial arts guy. Ooh, man,
Oh,
you don't want to mess with this
thank you.
guy. I tell you what.
Uh, thank you for that
Yeah, I'm
intro.
about to
Ed,
fade.
actually, I'm Daniel Kim.
Yes, he
Bruce
is.
Lee
All
was one
day,
of my
by the
idols
way.
growing up, though. Bruce Lee was the man when we were kids, man.
Man,
Remember?
you remember?
Hey.
Like that guy, and the thing is about him, he was stealthy, right? Like he looked like,
Yeah.
man, this guy 140 pounds, he ain't gonna do nothing. Now all of a sudden, like 8 people are laid out.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it was a big deal, man. I remember back in those days too, especially at that time, people still didn't think of or they didn't really consider Asian Americans or Asian people in general to have a place on movies or in the stage. Uh, the we were at that time people who ran the dry cleaners and whatever were the waiters at your Chinese restaurant. And then this guy comes on and he had style, he had some flair, and
Swag.
he was a great actor on top of being a martial artist. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't mind that comparison.
Well, there you
Ed,
go,
thank
man.
you,
Today's
sir.
your day. Then go buy
Yeah,
some lottery tickets. Today's the day.
yes, sir. And
You
I'm
bet.
glad to be on the show. I'm glad to be on this video call with you, Ed
Yeah.
Diaz. For
Thank
those of
you.
you guys who don't know Ed yet, Ed is known as the Mortgage Ninja. So anybody who needs to learn about uh, or get some education on financing, buying a home, refinancing their home that they live in, they need to talk with this man because he's
Sure.
a walking
I,
encyclopedia.
I
And
appreciate
thing I got to say about you, Ed, is you make it fun, man. So thanks for breaking it down.
Well,
Thanks for the
cool.
education you've given me so far.
I would, and thank you very much. That's a very becoming intro. And then I'll tell you, look, my whole thing is this: if it ain't fun, then why do it?
Yeah.
What's the point? We got one life. Enjoy it. Because guess
Yes,
what?
sir.
So a little factoid for everybody, in case I haven't mentioned it before. I saw this, and this kind of really hit home. I mean, we all hear all these cliches, right? Life is short and all these things, right? But I read that the average life expectancy in the United States is 78 years old. Okay, and it's about to get real here with this next piece. That's 28,500 days. Uh oh.
Woo.
Uh oh. And I don't know if you noticed, but check this out. These are called gray hairs. So I did the math. And if that's true and it applies to me, I got 6,500 days left. That's it.
Oh, man.
So goes
Ed.
back to what I'm saying is like, you better enjoy it. You better make it fun. And I'm not saying that life is just about, having fun, but do your best to enjoy your life and to make it as fun as possible. And the first step is, guess what? Surround yourself with people that think that way, right?
Amen.
Hence the fact
Yes,
that
sir.
you and I are on this. Look, there's a
Yes,
lot of,
sir,
and by the
Mr.
way,
Ed.
this is a great segue because there's a lot of doom and gloom out there. But I've said this
Yeah.
a million times.
Yeah. People
Go
worry.
surround yourself with positive people. And in the case of doing anything financially, and here we're going to be talking about real estate, surround yourself with positive professionals who see
Yeah. Yeah.
the glass is 3/4 full, not half full. You see, there's a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. That's
So I
me.
see things as
Yep.
3/4, and the
Yep.
only reason why I leave a quarter is because that's called room for improvement and to get
100%.
better, right?
Sir.
But there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, and I've always said this: all the news anchors, none of them that I know have real estate licenses and mortgage licenses. So be
Yeah.
careful where you get your information because the truth is, bad news sells really good and it's very
100%.
profitable,
Yes,
but
sir.
it's also toxic
Hmm.
to the human soul and it erodes people's dreams if you let it. So, on
That's
that
right. That's
note,
right.
let's chop it up a little bit about what's really going on, Dan. First off, let me say, look, we're probably already in a recession, truth be told. But does that mean jump off a bridge? No. What that means is, look, I've said this before, the Fed was probably late to the game in raising rates. And so it got out of control. Now we have to raise it 75 basis points. the most, by the way, when in fact about 18 months ago, they probably should have started raising them slowly, 20 basis points. But now the dog got away from them because it took the dog off the leash thinking it was going to hang out right here. And then it took off. And now you're trying to go catch it so it doesn't maul anybody. And
And
you
that's
got
a
to
good
do
way to
70,
illustrate it.
right? 75 basis
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
They have to tame the dog being, by the way, inflation. We have to tame inflation. It's the highest we've seen in 41 years. They need to get you to stop spending, because when you stop spending, that drops demand and it drops prices. Once
Yeah.
they do that, then rates will start to come down. Tomorrow being, by the way, Thursday, PCE comes out, which is the personal consumption and expenditures, right? That's
Sure.
what the Fed really loves to look at, not CPI, the Consumer Price Index. They like to look at PCE when they are looking at what inflation's doing. Tomorrow is a huge day, everybody. Let me tell you something. Tomorrow, one way or another, you're going to see drastic moves. It's either
We
going
got
to
to
be
be on
where we're
top
going to
of
see
it. Got it.
great rates and rate
Okay.
going down quite a bit, or we're going to see it go the other way, depending on how it comes out. The Fed's
Wow,
going to
something to
move.
look for.
Be very vigilant to that. And if you have any
Okay.
questions, regardless of whether it's before or after they announce it, give Daniel and I a call so that we can help you look at the truth and put together a strategy, because everything in life is a strategy. Look, great ideas are just great ideas, but without having a strategy and implementing it, they just die as good ideas, right? Don't
Yeah,
forget
100%.
Thomas Edison. It took him 1,000 times, 1,000 times before he got that light bulb thing,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So if he wasn't that persistent, we wouldn't have light bulbs, most likely, right? So
No, we wouldn't. Yeah.
heed the warning here, is that get yourself surrounded by positive professionals who have track records. Tell me, Daniel, what's going on? What are you seeing on the streets when it comes to listings, prices? Are sellers still in denial that we're starting to flip? Are they not budging on the price? Are they sticking to their guns? Or are they starting to release a little bit? You right? Give a little.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah. It's already out there. Like you said, it's that negative news cycle. So even before the truth becomes more clear and revealed and how it actually affects people, people are already on that, oh man, things is about to crash. We've been waiting for it. It's the bubble. It's about to bust. But, that negative news cycle is affecting, and houses are sitting a little bit longer on the market. There are price reductions. People already see it out there. But the fact is, there still is a good, healthy demand, especially for single family homes in certain neighborhoods and certain towns.
Yeah.
And there's still a lack of supply. So that can't really be defined as a bubble. I might be wrong, but wouldn't we rather call this a financial or economic system bubble more than a real estate bubble? And doesn't real estate kind of provide a hedge against those kind of things, as long as it's not like a 2008 scenario, right?
Right. Which was really more of a mortgage scenario than really an
Yes, sir.
economic one. But I will say that I do agree with you, and I would go even further and say that this is a correction. For those of you who are watching this who have not experienced anything called a cycle, then this feels drastic to you. But to an OG who's been through a few cycles, can I be honest for a second? Let me tell you something. This is normal. We're
Yes.
back to normal.
Yeah.
The days of 30 to 50 offers on a property and properties going a million over, that's insanity. Does
Yeah.
that make sense to anybody? That is not sustainable,
Yes.
folks. Now we're
Yes.
back to 5 to 7 offers on average. And if the property is that great and it was underpriced, yeah, it'll go over because it was underpriced.
Yes.
Okay. But
Yeah.
the reality is that the market always wins, and the market dictates what the price is. It's called
100%.
supply and demand, right? We, the consumer, vote on what that house is going to be worth based on our actions. That's how it works. It's not a Wall Street thing. It's not, your dog, none of that.
That's
It's
right.
what we determine. It's much like the dollar. Remember, the dollar was taken off of the gold as backing it, right?
Yep.
It's called fiat money. It's what we determine. If in the United States or in the world,
Yep.
the world decided that tomorrow a dollar's worth 50 cents, Guess what it's worth? 50 cents.
50 cents. Yep.
There's nothing backing it. Okay, so it's
Yep.
the same thing with real estate. And you're right. Real estate is a hedge over long term, including 2008. If you look at it, where
Yes.
has real estate gone, folks? By the way, do me a favor, ask your
Yep.
grandma.
Yep. Yep.
Ask your grandma when she bought that house for 10 G's
Yeah.
and never thought it would go to 100,
Yeah.
and then never thought it'd go to 500, and in San
Yep.
Francisco never thought it would sell for 1.6 to 1.7 million
Yep. Yep.
ever.
Yeah.
They never thought that would ever happen.
It's a
This is
cycle.
what happens. It's cycles, folks, and everything
Yes.
gets more expensive with time because
Yes,
guess
sir.
what? First off, populations increase. When populations increase, there's more demand for products because there's more humans consuming, right?
Yep.
Everything from baby milk to furniture to cars to gas, all of it. Chicken, beef, your
Yes, sir.
charcoal briquettes when you go and do barbecues, you're not the only one doing it, right?
Yep.
Everything goes up. And so
That's right. Yep.
this is
That's
a
true too.
normal
Yeah.
cycle. The one
Yeah.
thing that is your delta here is the fact that inflation got out of control. And again,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
already said why I think
Yeah.
that happened. The reality is that the Fed didn't put the brakes on soon enough. For those of you who've been in car crashes and have, you know, hit somebody because you were texting and you went back up and then you slammed on the brakes a little too late, what happened?
Yeah.
I said too late. That means
Yeah.
you rear-ended them. Well,
Yeah.
guess what happened here?
Exactly.
Inflation has rear-ended us
Yeah.
because
It is.
we didn't put the brakes on soon enough.
Caught us off
So
guard.
that
Mhm.
that horse is dead now. So let's move on here and let's talk about something positive about what Daniel just said. I heard that sellers now are starting to be a little bit more realistic. If you're a buyer or a potential buyer watching this video,
Yep.
I just gave you, and we just gave you some really great news that says you can negotiate price now.
There's an
Uh,
opportunity. Yes, sir.
right? There's huge opportunity, and it's not as crowded. You don't have 30 to 50 offers.
Yeah.
I would rejoice if I were you. And I would
Yep.
seriously, if you are going to buy a house, strongly consider at least having the game plan and get with us sooner than later to put a strategy because you don't know what we know,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And you don't know all the options that we have for you. The other part too is that, yeah, rates are higher than they were when they were for free. Everybody got used to free food, free parties, free liquor when the
Yep.
rates were at, 2.5, 3.5%. Those were not real rates, folks. Those were
Yep.
artificially lowered rates by the federal government. Okay. They came back. The reality is that the average rate on a 30-year fix in the last 30 to 40 years has been 6 to 7%. Bingo, we're right there, right? Remember I said this is a normal market? However, if you don't like that rate, and once inflation is tamed, rates go back down, nobody said you have to die with that rate. Let's get you refinanced
That's right.
and get you a lower rate. You don't have to live with that the rest of your life.
Sir. Yeah. Talking about opportunities and prices going down. I saw this post from Ro Habibi from my old office back when we were at Keller Williams when I was
Yeah.
there. I kind of watched this guy. I was like, man, this guy is always get these big listings, and he's got these big. He was even on a TV show when I was at that office.
$1 million
Selling
listing
sa-
San Francisco. I
That's
was
right.
on
That's right.
episode 8 and 9 of it. If you
Yeah,
watched,
yeah. I saw him put up something on his story. He's doing an open house this weekend on one of his listings, and they did a price drop, $1 million. Of course, that's coming from like 6 million to 5, but
whoa, but hold on. Yeah, I know it's all relative, but the reality is that it's happening.
yeah,
And even on the higher end, look, it's happening in drastic numbers, like $1 million.
yes, sir.
Let's take it back down to us, the everyday people. Look, 100 grand. Hey, I'll take it. Will you take it? I'll take 100 grand price drop. It's better than it continuing to go up by another 100 grand, right? So look at the trends.
Yes, sir.
It's not that we're having a bubble and prices are going down 20, 30%, everything's imploding like 2008. This is not 2008
Yeah, yeah.
news
No,
at
no.
11. Okay. What this is it's a correction and it's a slowing down of the astronomical rocket pace that things were happening. That's no longer the case because that was not the same. There's a
So
difference.
you're just saying sellers are having to be a little bit more reasonable about their expectations of how much their home is worth now,
Right.
and that it's not a matter of a housing crash, it's a correction. And
Correct.
this, I guess, even though it's not the best news for sellers, we're looking at this glass half full, three-quarters full. Actually, it's good for the economy. And also, this is giving some of our buyers an opportunity to get in when they might not have been able to.
100%. I think, like I said, look, don't go by emotion, go by the numbers. That's where we come in. Where we
Got
show
it.
you what the numbers are, what the options are for you to buy a house. And let's just say the numbers show that you can't right now. Well, then let's get a game plan. So if you can't today, you could do it tomorrow, because guess what? Tomorrow's coming quick. Look at the last 5 years in our lives. Did anybody predict that we were going to have a pandemic that would put the planet in disarray for 3+ years? Nobody saw that coming. But look also how quickly that's gone by. It's been 3 years since this pandemic.
Yes,
Look
sir.
how quick. Now let's take it back to, we're at the end of June.
Yeah.
Half of the year of 2022 is done,
Yeah. Already,
right?
man.
So it's going
Yeah.
fast. So look, time is not going to wait for you. You might as well have a game plan to win tomorrow than just
Yes, sir.
watch tomorrow come and it's all the same thing again and again, right? Groundhog year, every year, same thing.
Yeah.
We don't want that,
Yeah.
right? We want to have a plan.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you had some slides, and let me kind of cue this up. Why is there so much demand in housing? One of the things that I know is that millennials have come of age. They're now
Yeah.
in their 30s. Guess what? They're getting serious. No more partying as much as they did. Now they're thinking about getting married and having kids. And guess what happens when you do those two things? You buy a house
Yeah.
typically, right? So
Yes, sir.
I wanted you to kind of walk us through, these this slide of let me show you here, the slide that you have here that shows what we just talked about. Look at the median age. We're at
Yes, sir.
33 now. This is exactly what we're talking about. What do you think about this? Because this is your slide, Daniel, that this is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
millennials. Yeah.
These are these people who are, they've been having some fun. They've been enjoying the boom economic years. A lot of these guys, especially in our area,
Tech,
working in tech,
making good money.
making good money, and also they've been educated on how to take care of their finances better than people of our generation, right? So, or my generation and your generation, I should say.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys are actually in pretty strong position to buy, and now more than ever, I think they're starting to really seriously consider it because, yeah, they're hitting that age, 33.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, man. And then another thing I wanted to show here, look at the first time home buyer household composition. If you want to go through this is an interesting slide. And then, by the way, if you guys see that, to give the sources, from NAR, we call it, right? National Association of
National
Realtors.
Association of Realtors, yep.
Biggest lobby, by the way, in the United States. Huge.
100%. Big lobby.
Huge. So what do we got here in this first time buyers household composition? This is what buyers were made of
Exactly.
since 81.
You're seeing a drop in actually married couples going in and getting a home. You're seeing more single family households going up. But yeah, that's the graph. It shows a lot of interesting information here.
And I think this is also a huge indicator of the composition of society. I think
Yes,
we're
sir.
seeing, less people getting married, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, look at this. But I'll tell you, to add something interesting, since we started in 1981. In 1981, by the way, the 30-year fixed peaked at 21%.
Yep.
For a
Yeah.
30-year fixed mortgage.
Yeah.
Paul
That's what I
Volcker
was
was
gonna add.
the Fed back then. And guess what? It was because of inflation. Same thing we're going through now. And
Yes,
he
sir.
had to raise rates to, right, put the brakes on inflation and bring
Yes,
it
sir.
in. And
That's
the rate
right.
jumped to 21%. By the way, that same year it went down to 13, and people thought that was free money. And now we're complaining about, 5.875% or 6.
Yeah, exactly. That was another thing I wanted you to kind of illustrate too about the cycle. We're looking at how things change and what kind of home buyers are, how the home buyers are changing, and the the age of the home buyers, right? But over time, we'll also see how interest rates and the economy, I'm sorry, the housing market, the way people bought homes are changing, have always changed. Do you remember some of those cycles? And do you remember when interest rates were that high? Were you in the business then?
Well, okay, so I've been in the business 21 years. I didn't see 81, obviously, but I studied a lot of it. And again, it's just it's cycles of life, man. Look at our own lives. Things go up and down. Nothing is linear.
Yes, sir.
No, nothing is. Everything has its ups and downs. Look at our lives. We've had good times. We've had tough times. Everybody's has a story. Everybody's had an economic challenge at one point or another. Let's take, for example, Elon Musk. This dude was 3 weeks away from bankruptcy, and look at Tesla now.
Yeah.
He's got SpaceX, he's got Neuralink, and he's got all these things going on. This guy has been close to bankruptcy so many times
Oh man.
because it's the old adage, right? No risk, no reward.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
we go through these cycles collectively as well. Things like real estate, because we're all moving. It's like a school of fish, right? There's many of us,
Yes, sir.
causing these cycles. But yeah, I mean, 2008 was real. But I say the reason why I say this is not 2008 is for a few reasons. Back then, the mortgage industry was the wild, wild west, quite frankly. They were giving 100, sometimes 125% loans. They were giving you 25% more than the appraised value of the house.
Yes.
And so everybody felt like they were rich.
I remember those days. I was 19 around that time, and 18, 19 when they were giving those loans out, and kids my age were getting houses.
And because they weren't verifying anything. Now it's the opposite. They verify everything. They want your firstborn. They want a couple of vials of blood. They want to make sure, because they passed the Dodd-Frank Act, and the government jumped in and said, no, 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 no. We're going to create layers of compliance, which, by the way, made the mortgage 3 to 4 times more expensive, because now all these mortgage companies have to staff up with all these compliance people that scrub and look at every single thing, and knowing little, hey, you missed an I here, and you didn't dot this, you didn't cross this T, right? They have to do all that in order for these loans to pass audits, compliance, especially because they sell them in the secondary market. They have to pass through all these layers and filters of compliance. So now you as a consumer have to give your whole life to a lender, and all this paperwork, right? We're killing rainforests, right? Good thing it's digital now. And you have to pass certain tests, such as debt to income ratio, ABTs, which is ATPs, ability to pay rules. That's behind the scenes. People don't see it. You have to be able to pay this mortgage, right?
Yes.
So there's all these filters now. And people are putting down payments. Back then, they were getting free money, so nobody had any skin in the game. So guess what? Well, I don't have any skin in the game. I'll just let the house go. You're not going to let the house go if you got 20, 30, 40%
This is
down
definitely
payments. It's not going to happen.
This is definitely not the bust. This is definitely not 2008. This is the correction.
Yeah, this is economic. This is not a mortgage-induced and out-of-control property value environment of 2008. But I really think this is exciting times in our business, because it also takes out a bunch of the fat out of it, right? And now we're getting leaner and meaner, right? And what I've been saying forever, especially since AI came into play, and they said, oh, you don't need Daniel anymore as your realtor. You don't need Ed as your mortgage person. Just talk to this robot, right? I've been saying this forever. This is a business that it's about relationships. It's about brain trust of a professional who can give you boots on the ground. That's all they do, 24/7. Like you and I, boots on the ground advice and education. Most people don't even know how credit scores even work. Here we are, 2022. We got rockets going to the moon, and we got Elon Musk with SpaceX. And yet people still don't even understand how credit scores work.
Right. That's right.
And how the mortgage industry uses your credit. People don't know that we use the middle score, the median score in the mortgage business. They have no idea. So somebody will say to me, well, I got an 800, and then we'll pull the credit report, and I realize that the middle score, because there's 3 credit reporting agencies, therefore you have 3 credit scores. The median score to this person is a 702. but they think they have an 802 because the highest is 802 and they use that. That's not
They were
the way
just
the
looking at
mortgage,
one, yep.
right?
And
The
they were looking at the
mortgages
highest
does
one, that's
not
right.
work that way.
Yeah.
So education, especially in this, because there's so many moving parts. Did you know that the average loan has about 23 people involved in it? It's a lot
Man,
of people,
wow, I didn't know it was that many people in there.
man.
Dang.
It's a
Wow.
lot of people. So again, people don't know. They think they know because they got their Uncle Google. Well, Uncle Google doesn't know everything,
Yeah,
despite what the populace thinks, right? It
yeah,
does not. It does not know
yes,
all the
sir.
stuff that I've accumulated in 21 years in all of your years being in business.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is where we come in as Batman and Robin for you to save the day, get the bad people out of your life and help you win, whether it's today because
100%.
you're ready or prepare you for tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's how it works,
yes, sir. Yes,
right?
sir. Like you
So
said, man.
opportunities. So let's talk about what areas do you think are good buys right now? Like I know Sleepy Town San Bruno's always been a really good one, in my opinion, especially
Yeah,
condos. People don't talk about it, but it's right there in the peninsula. And for
yeah.
some reason, it's not priced like San Mateo or
Mhm.
Burlingame. It's not
Yeah.
that as expensive. There's opportunities there, but what are you seeing since you're
I
the
see a lot of great opportunity
man?
in San Bruno. I see actually also too, even with the uh, the uh, the difficulty of being a landlord in San Francisco. I see a lot of opportunities in San Francisco just because people are scared of managing their own properties in the city right now. So
Interesting.
I think San Francisco is also a place that's going to have a lot of opportunity. You've been seeing the price drops in San Francisco since the pandemic, since the lockdown,
Well, especially
and of
condos,
course
man, like Soma.
condos.
Oh,
Yes, condos. And remember how hot condos and TICs were before the
huge.
the the lockdown happened? So I think that's probably a place where people are going to have a lot of opportunity to get in on some really underpriced property, especially first-time home buyers, never bought a property before. San Francisco, the city by the bay, it's gone through up and down cycles too, right? Right? We both seen that
Since the
dot-com bust, right?
49ers came,
Mhm.
and I'm not talking about the football team.
Up and down. Yeah, it's a roller coaster, but it always goes back up in San Francisco. The fire, the earthquake. There's something about this city that I really believe in. It's not just the most beautiful city in the world. I think there is opportunity in the city, of course, in the surrounding suburbs too. But yeah, we're talking about something I've kind of noticed: condos, TICs, multifamily in San Francisco. They're experiencing some price corrections, and then there's some opportunities for people to invest in the city.
Hey, man,
That's what I
I
think.
couldn't agree more. I mean, look, it's got its issues like every city, right? Especially every high density city. It's got its issues. Probably we got some more
Yeah,
than the norm.
yeah, yeah,
I won't get into that, but
yeah,
we all know what I'm talking about.
yeah. We know.
But I also know that, when I went to Sausalito to go grab a cup of coffee at a meeting that I went there, I saw a property that was 200 grand below what it had listed prior. It wasn't moving. I'm like, wow, it's in the hills of Sausalito. Like, what? Like you never saw that. Like all of a sudden it's like, what? 200 grand less? Like, whoa, right? So there's opportunities also with properties that are not perfect,
Sure.
right? They might need a little bit of love, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're watching this and you're a contractor or you know somebody who's a contractor,
Yeah.
you might want to buy something that you can make your own at a fraction of the
100%.
price. Because when you buy something that's finished, you're buying their cost. How do you
100%.
know that you can't get it cheaper?
Yep.
Just saying. Again, out
100%.
of the
Yep.
box, being
Yes, sir.
creative. That's what
Yep.
it's about.
Yeah, and not to be scared of the situation because I mean, it is true that there's inflation. It is true that they've been having some supply chain issues. Uh, in developing and remodeling and flipping and fixing, right? Or fixing and
Yes.
flipping.
Yep.
Those kind of things is a real kind of a stop sign for some people, but for other people, like you said, who can see opportunity, this is a good time to come in when some people either don't want to, they're tired of operating in this kind of environment with the supply chain, with the inflation, the cost of reproduction is higher. But there's a lot more opportunity for people who are ready to work, who want to put in that sweat equity, who are ready to put up a little bit of that investment money to have something that's going to be worth a lot more money in the future.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. again, to be cliche here, no risk, no reward.
Yes, sir.
And the people who took, look at history. Look at the people who bought at 40 to 60% off in 2008 when everybody was selling. Where are those property values now? I could tell you in '89 when the earthquake happened here in San Francisco, people were like, I'm not buying San Francisco. It's earthquake
Yeah.
prone. It's going to go out into the water.
Yeah.
I had a guy who bought a 2-unit. Get this, man. You ready? 645,000 for 2 units. Okay,
Goodness.
guys, you guys ready? How much it's worth now? It's worth north of 5 million.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. You're either writing the book of success or you're reading somebody else's book of success.
Yes.
You have to make that decision. And I've always said this, and I think this is a great place to end this video. Besides giving our contact information, you see my phone number here, is the only people we can't help, Daniel and I, are the people where we want it more than you do. If we want it more than you, it ain't gonna happen. But if
100%.
you want it,
Yes, sir.
Batman and Robin are coming.
We got your
coming
back.
to save you.
We got your back.
We do. We've been doing it a
We do,
long
we
time,
do.
and we do this not just for the money, but we love this business. We love giving keys to people because the house is a lot more than stucco and wood.
100%.
It
Yes, sir.
signifies achievement, accomplishment, safety for your family. It also increases your socioeconomic status.
course.
It does.
Yeah, of course.
Because that equity that you're earning while you're sleeping in it and the tax deductions you get are going to put you in a better financial situation mid to long term, no doubt about it. Look at history. Go back and look at the Forbes 400, which is the 400 richest people in the world. Okay, 84% of that wealth came from real estate.
Real estate.
So even people like Jeff Bezos, yes, he's got Amazon, but go look at all the holdings he has, all the real estate.
Yes, sir.
Larry Ellison,
That's true.
Bill Gates, Elon Musk, which Elon Musk is a little bit different because he decided he wanted to be a minimalist and he sold all his stuff, but he's coming back now because he realizes he ain't a dumb guy, right? Real estate's where it's at.
Yeah.
It is where it's at. So how do people get a hold of you, Daniel?
They can call me at 510-269-3719. I'm also available at my eXp Realty website. That's danieljkim.exprealty.com. You can follow me on Instagram at DK Sells Houses. DK Sells Houses. I'm going to try to put up some entertaining, content.
Yeah.
I'm doing some good videos. And I think I'm going to start a rap career too. So you guys can start hearing my rap debut on DK Sells Houses.
Yeah, buddy. So D is in David, K is in Kim. So Daniel Kim, DK Kim, right? Or DK, you got it. Sells houses.
Yes,
all right, guys, you heard it here first. Reach out to us. We're always here to help. Doesn't cost you anything for a consultation. Let's get on the phone or Zoom and let's get you set up.
Talk with me and Ed. You guys got a lot of questions. We got some answers. This guy's got all the answers for me.
I don't know about that, but you know what? Always in the pursuit of mastery. I will die being a student. Have a great day, everybody.
Well, you taught me a lot. Thanks, Ed. Bye, guys.
Yes, sir. You bet.